It was just another rainy afternoon at the small roadside diner, until one quiet moment shattered a billionaire's heart and changed a waitress's life forever. The bell above the door jingled softly, the smell of burnt coffee and fried eggs clinging to the air. Emily stood behind the counter, her tired hands trembling slightly as she poured another cup for the regulars. Her apron was frayed, her sneakers soaked through, and her eyes, those soft brown eyes, were swollen from the tears she hadn't let fall. She smiled anyway, the kind of smile that hurts to hold. No one knew that she had just missed her mother's funeral. "Table 4 needs a refill," her manager barked, snapping her out of her daze. Emily nodded quickly, swallowing hard, trying to hide the way her voice broke when she said, "Right away, sir." At that very table, sitting alone in a crisp suit with a newspaper folded neatly beside him, was Alexander Grant, the billionaire who could buy anything except peace of mind. To the world, he was ruthless, powerful, cold. But that afternoon, when he looked up and saw Emily's trembling hands and the distant ache in her eyes, something inside him shifted. He noticed the way she wiped her eyes when she thought no one was watching. The way she kept checking her phone, an old cracked thing that hadn't stopped buzzing all morning. And then, just as she turned to refill his cup, a message flashed on the screen. "Mom's gone, Emily. The service starts in an hour." He saw it, she froze. For a moment the world seemed to stop. Her breath caught in her chest, but then she silenced the phone and forced a smile. "Coffee?" she asked softly. Alexander's voice was low. "You should be with your family." She blinked fast, her lips trembling. "Can't afford to," she whispered, setting the pot down. "Double shift today, rent's due. If I leave, I lose my job." Her words hit him harder than any boardroom negotiation ever had. He didn't reply, he just watched her move from table to table, her shoulders drooping a little more each time someone called her name. Outside, the rain grew heavier, tapping against the window like a clock counting down time she'd never get back. Hours passed, the diner emptied. Alexander was still there, untouched plate in front of him. Emily stood by the coffee machine, finally allowing a tear to escape. She thought no one saw it, but he did. When she turned to clean his table, she found a note instead of a bill. It said, in neat handwriting, "Go now, don't ask questions." And beneath it, her week's wages, times 50. Emily gasped, looking around, but he was gone. She ran outside, the rain soaking her instantly. The parking lot was empty except for a sleek black car pulling away into the distance. She didn't know who he was or why he'd done it, but she grabbed her bag, her breath trembling with disbelief, and ran. By the time she reached the cemetery, the service was over. Only a few relatives lingered under umbrellas. Her sister was standing alone by the grave. Emily fell to her knees beside her mother's headstone, clutching the damp soil, whispering apologies through sobs. "I tried, Mom, I really tried." And in that moment, something unexplainable happened. The same black car she'd seen before pulled up nearby. Alexander stepped out, umbrella in hand. He didn't say anything, just walked quietly toward her and held the umbrella over her trembling form. "I'm sorry," she whispered through tears. "I didn't even know your name." "Alexander," he said softly, "and you don't owe me thanks." He stood there with her until the rain stopped. The next morning, Emily returned to the diner thinking it was over. But life has a way of surprising those who never expect kindness twice. Her manager was waiting for her at the door, red-faced. "What's this nonsense?" he snapped, holding a letter. "You didn't tell me you had powerful friends." Emily frowned. "What are you talking about?" He threw the envelope at her. It bore a company logo she didn't recognize, Grant Enterprises. Inside was a formal offer letter. A new job, twice her current pay, benefits, training, a personal note at the bottom. "You gave up your goodbye to honor your responsibilities. Now it's time someone honors you, Alexander G." Her hands trembled as she read it. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. 2 days later, she walked into a glass building so tall it touched the clouds. Her uniform replaced by a simple dress, her hair tied neatly, her nervous heart pounding. When the elevator doors opened, Alexander was waiting at the top floor by a wide window overlooking the city. "You showed up," he said with a faint smile. "I couldn't refuse," she whispered. "But why me? You don't even know me." He looked out at the skyline for a long moment before replying. Because I once missed my father's funeral, I thought money could fix everything, but that day I realized how poor I really was. He turned to her. You reminded me what matters. Tears welled in her eyes again, but this time they weren't from pain. Over the next few months, Emily became more than just an employee. Her compassion, her quiet strength, qualities the world had overlooked, breathed warmth into Alexander's life. He began visiting the diner again, not for the food, but for the reminder of how far kindness could reach. One evening, after a long day, Emily found herself back where it all began, at the diner counter, sipping coffee with Alexander beside her. I still miss her, she said softly. He nodded. You never stop missing them, but you learn to live for them. Outside, the neon lights flickered against the night. Inside, two people who had both lost something found peace in a place neither expected. And as the scene faded, the story left a quiet message echoing in every listener's heart.